Hello, hello, and welcome to Brand New Me Journey series. I am your host, Shate Thompson, and I am so excited to have Mo here with us today. A little bit about this series, it's really about bringing the experts to be able to help us on our journey to being brand new. We have many different aspects of our journey, from the beginning to the middle to the lifelong, but throughout this entire process, we are finding ways to be our best self. And to be able to do that, I have developed this platform to bring in different experts for us to have candid conversations so we all can grow on our journey. Today, Mo, a little bit about her before I let her chime on in. I'm so excited to have her today. I'm just going to read the bio for you. Moniek James is a veteran military spouse, mother, and serial entrepreneur. As the founder and chief confidence officer of the Confetti Collective, a lifestyle platform that inspires confidence in women and girls, Mo experiences that are created to help women create big, beautiful lives for themselves. Mo holds an MBA, a Lean Six Sigma certification, and an Impractical Purse collection. She is a tireless champion of women recognizing their power and leveraging it to impact the world. She believes that when you empower a woman, you empower a community. Welcome, welcome, Mo.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for this chat.
Yes. So this show is entitled Made to Soar. And I'm just going to jump right in with a few of the questions. And from there, we're going to be able to just chat back and forth and be able to help each other and help others.
All right, let's get into it.
So what is the key to unlocking confidence in our lives?
Well, I think the key first is understanding what confidence is. A lot of people, especially women, when we think of confidence, we think of self-esteem, and they're not the same thing. I like to say they're sisters, they are not twins, right?
Okay.
So self-esteem is how we value ourselves, and confidence is more how we believe and how we feel about our abilities. So I like to think that confidence, the key to unlocking it in our lives is taking action. We have to train and kind of teach ourselves to go after the new experience, to try the new things, to pursue the ideas, even if we don't feel in the moment like we know what we're doing or like we have it all figured out, because the truth is nobody has it all figured out. Everybody is just everybody's just trying to work it out day by day. So confidence is rooted so much in action. And there's a loop that kind of takes place when you get into the habit of taking action. It's called the confidence competency loop. So think about how, the last time you were in a situation where you were like, okay, I have never been here before. So I don't have any prior experience to lean on. I don't know what to expect. Some people in that moment will shrink back and run from the experience. But the key to unlocking that confidence is to try it. Because when you try it, you either end up with two outcomes. You either succeed at what you've tried, or you learn from it. Both of those are positive experiences, right?
Very true, yes.
And when you learn, you build skills, which increases your competency, which boosts your confidence. So the next time you're in a situation, you will try again and learn again, build skills, increase it. So it's literally like the snowball effect. We just have to kind of start and teach ourselves how to start that process.
Right.
And we exercise it like it's a muscle. I like to think of it as a muscle. Just like if we're not going to the gym, if we're not adding resistance to our muscles, they atrophy. The same thing happens with our confidence. So we have to train ourselves to not run from the new thing, but realize that even if we don't get the results that we wanted, we still learn something. And because we learn something, we are able to lean on what we learned the next time, which just boosts the confidence a little bit more over and over again. It
Yeah.
becomes a cycle.
So what that really reminds me of is kind of like a mindset shift that I constantly talk about, because you said you can either learn from it, or you can either build skill and actually see that you succeeded. So if we don't look at it as failure, right, but we look at it as a lesson. So we
Yes.
have to make sure that we have that mindset shift on, so we're able to take lessons no matter what happens.
Right. And who doesn't want to learn things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to say, you know what? I'm going to add that to my book of wisdom and
Mm-hmm.
experiences, right?
Yes.
You just want to learn things. So yes, it's changing the perspective. There is no failure. Those are those are lessons that we would not have learned any other way.
Exactly. Exactly. So then here's a question for you then. How can I push past my experiences, right, to still be able to have confidence? Because even if I have this mindset shift in things that I want to try and do and not get stuck in the fear, what about experiences that I have had? It could be my breakup. It could be my relationship with my mom or my dad. It could be any of these experiences that I've had. How can I push past those experiences to still have confidence?
I mean, I think definitely recognizing those experiences have value. Those
Okay.
experiences aren't. You can't just push those away or say, "Forget it, girl. Wipe the slate clean. Move on."
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is able to do that, especially when it's something traumatic, right? So
Exactly.
I think kind of giving those experiences, allowing them to have their place, but
Mm-hmm.
not letting them drive the vehicle of our lives. So
Mm-hmm.
experience, you are in the passenger seat, but I'm driving this.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might have input on the way we're going to get to where we're going, but
Right.
the ultimate destination is my call. And
Okay.
we kind of have to really have to kind of take ownership of it. Um, and I know that's hard to do. That is
Mm-hmm.
really hard to do because we get we can get stuck in those stories that the experiences bring, and without realizing that life has passed us by, and we've
Mm-hmm.
been telling ourselves the same
Mm-hmm.
story over and over and over again, and have missed out on opportunities to create new experiences.
Exactly.
So yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, I think giving those experiences their place, but not allowing them to kind of shape the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly agree with you. So we cannot have our experiences keep us stuck and define us, right? But we need to be able to acknowledge it for what it is, take lessons from it, and allow those instances and experiences to give life to everything else that we can still accomplish.
Right, right. I mean, and, you just you said the give life thing, and it automatically made me think of what we do with seeds, right? We
Mm-hmm.
get seeds, and we have to plant those seeds in the dirt. And sometimes there are some things that get planted in the dirt that are dead. Like
Mm-hmm.
some things we cover with dirt to signify the end. Other
Right.
things we cover with dirt to facilitate the growth.
Yes.
So we have to, we can't let those experiences just kind of dictate what we do. We definitely let them shape, and we learn from the wisdom of the experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And 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 again, it just takes us back to the whole loop that we just talked about. Those experiences, those lessons will shape how we go into the next thing. So then we're less afraid to take
Exactly.
a chance a second time, because we've learned the lesson from that negative or that traumatic thing, and
Mm-hmm.
we know where I'm not going to willingly create the same experience this time.
Right. Right. Awesome sauce. What I like to tell clients and individuals that I encounter
Mhm.
is really to make a list. Make a list of the experiences that you've had that might have been negative or that really affects you. And then next to that, make a list of what you've learned. So now your focus is going to be on what you've learned and gained from it. So then you look at the entire thing differently now.
Right. Right.
So I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So how does self-doubt keep us from achieving true confidence?
Okay. So since we just talked about, confidence being kind of rooted in our willingness and our ability to take action.
Right.
Self-doubt is the opposite of that, because self-doubt causes us to not take action. It causes us to not even try. We run from the opportunity to take the action. And that's how our brains are wired. Our brains are wired to protect us from things that are uncertain. We are conditioned as humans to stay away from things that we're unsure of.
Yes.
But sometimes in that hesitation, we start overthinking stuff. And then because we're busy overthinking stuff, we're not taking any action. And then because we didn't take the action, it's definitely not successful. And then which brings in more self-doubt. So that becomes a loop in and of itself. In and of itself. So it's one of those things we hear people say all the time, feel the fear and do it anyway, right? That's a phrase. We see it on the social media all over the place. That's what that is. That's what that means. We're always going to find ourselves, if we are on a journey of growth and developing and elevating our lives, we are always going to be in positions where we will encounter something we've never done before. We will encounter a situation we've never been in before. We have to train ourselves to not let self-doubt take over, which will keep us from taking the action. We have to train ourselves to actually take the action, which activates that loop that facilitates taking more action.
Yes. And I love that you use the terminology train ourselves, because practice makes better.
Yes.
Right? So the more that we can push ourselves to do the work, the more we can push ourselves to take the lesson, the more that we can push ourselves to take action, like you just said, then we'll be able to see more and more that, hey, I can do this. I got this. It actually worked out all right. And then we'll be able to talk ourselves through it, because that's really what happens with anxiety. And we all experience anxiety, just at different levels, right? So it's about being able to remind ourselves of what the reality really is, remind ourselves of what the past experience took place, that we're kind of feeding ourselves all of these negativities and all of these what if scenarios that might not even happen,
Exactly.
So yes.
Exactly.
Awesome sauce. Yes. Okay. So how can our big dreams be a hindrance to our confidence?
Okay, so in this one, I know some people are like, but what do you mean? Big dreams are a good thing, right? Like, people tell us to dream big, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And we have all these, we've got the scriptures and everything that we say. But sometimes the dreams can be so big that we hide. It causes us to get overwhelmed because we see the big dream and we're already looking at the end of the big dream. Right. And from where we are, getting to the end is impossible. There is no way I can build, there's no way I can build a pyramid in Egypt and all I have is dirt and water. So that is overwhelming to us. We can, because we tell ourselves it's just too big, I can't do it, this is too much. We end up doing things like procrastinating. We hide behind the scenes, and because we tell ourselves, well, I don't need to do that big thing. I just need to stay with what I have in front of me. This is enough. I will just play it small. I'll be behind the scenes. We end up getting afraid of what do people say if I attempt this thing? What if I fail? Activating that loop again. What if people are disappointed? How are people going to judge me? What if I look silly?
Right.
All of those things, we kind of go into that ruminating, that anxiety loop, and we don't pursue the big dream that yesterday we told ourselves was possible for us. So I like to remind people in my consulting business, I have a thing that I say, baby steps to greatness, right?
Yes.
It's the way that you eat an elephant is one bite at a time.
I use that all the time. Yes.
Instead of thinking about what the big dream is going to look like when it's done, think about what you need to do tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one bite, like just take one
Step
bite.
by step, exactly.
Little by little.
Mm-hmm.
That's what allows us to not get so focused on the end goal, which is big, which could be overwhelming. And we could get caught up in that tailspin of thinking, well, I don't have this, and I don't know this, and I don't know the people, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. Let's just stop and figure out what we can do right now, and rinse and repeat that every day.
Exactly.
In pursuit of the big dream.
Awesome sauce. I love it. Yes. And everything that I would have just added, you really just just brought it on home. So I wholeheartedly agree with all of that. Okay, now alter egos. Is there a way that having an alter ego can actually help this whole situation?
Yes. Okay, so this is probably my favorite thing to talk about, because I know people are like, what? What do you mean? Okay, because more often than not, when people hear the phrase alter ego, they hear those words, depending on, you know, where you're from in the United States or what culture you identify with, you probably think about the Derek Blanks photos that he did with the Real Housewives a couple years ago, or you think about, you know, the evil twin scenario that we see played out in dramatic shows on TV, right? But the thing is, an alter ego, one of the definitions is an intimate and trusted friend. So when you think about the celebrities and the people that we know that have recently kind of talked publicly about their alter egos, we know Beyonce has Sasha Fierce, T.I. has T.I.P., Eminem has two alter egos. Eminem has Slim Shady, and he has Ken. He has two. Mariah Carey has
the other.
Mariah Carey has Mimi. Prince has the symbol. Like, we see and we hear about, you know, these and a lot of times it's creative people, creatives having this alter ego. And I want more of us, especially women, because we have so much on our plates. We juggle a lot in our lives, keeping everybody in line and going to work and performing and looking cute and working out and keeping our nails done. We have a lot to handle. So for us, I want more of us to recognize that we can hone in, we can tap in on those areas of our personality that can help us better, and I'm going to use this in quotations, perform. Just like Beyonce, just like Prince, just like all these people that we just talked about. So, because the truth of the matter is, there are parts of our personality that can hurt our performance. So think about the public speaker, this professional speaker that's afraid of public speaking, or the professional athlete that always crumbles under pressure. Like, think about how these people can already be on those stages where they can succeed and they can operate at the highest level of their skill, but for some reason they're not able to make that connection and take it over the hump. The key is to pull out, and I was going to say conjure up, but you don't even have to conjure it up because it's already in us. That's the thing. Exactly. We just have to let that part of us come to the forefront and do what that part of us does. And it's not just the celebrities or even the superheroes, because Superman's alter ego was Clark Kent. You know, he put on the glasses and the cardigans to blend in, and he had to get a job and blend in with humankind. But when it was time to save the world, he also knew, I can't show up to save the world with the glasses and the cardigan on. I have to allow this other piece of me show up and step to the forefront to perform at the best of our ability.
Exactly.
So for women, we have to think about those areas or those stages if we're staying with like the acting references, right?
Okay.
Think about those stages in our lives where we are called to perform. And there are probably going to be some stages where we are incredibly frustrated because we know, oh, I didn't do that right, or why didn't I assert myself in the meeting, or why didn't I do this, or why didn't I advocate for myself at the doctor's office? Why? And we beat ourselves up because we realize after the fact that it's in us to do.
Exactly.
But it's hard sometimes because that's not the part of us at the forefront. That's not the part of us that's on the stage. But we tell people, we say things like, well, channel your inner Beyonce, or think about what would Oprah do in this moment. That's exactly what we're telling ourselves to do. We're giving ourselves permission to let the piece of ourselves that would be successful on this stage show up and show out.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I want to challenge all of our listeners and everyone that's viewing this today. I want to challenge everyone to name their alter ego.
Oh, yes.
And to start actually giving that alter ego a chance to perform.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So with that challenge, what would you like to add to help them to come more in tune with who their alter ego is? Because it's already within them, right? But what are some like 3 top tips that you can help them to actually start this challenge like ASAP?
Okay, so first, and we started talking about it, think about those areas, those stages where they're really frustrated, because those are going to be the arenas where the alter ego is going to be able to best elevate them and kind of best help them really change the trajectory of their lives. So when you think about those areas that frustrate you, think about why it's frustrating. Is it because you don't speak up for yourself? Is it because when you give the idea, but the male coworker snatches the idea, and then everybody pats them on the back, but it was your idea. You don't, tell the doctor, no, listen, my baby is sick. I need this medicine. Right. Think about why it frustrates us, and then think about the gap because it's frustrating us because we know that there's a gap there. We know that we could better perform on those stages, but for some reason we're not. So if you think about those areas of frustration and what traits we would like to see come forth in those moments, identify those traits. And then I just happen to have I love a little prompt, right? So a lot of times when I'm speaking, especially to children, I have to allow certain, depending on the topic we're discussing and the age of the kids, I have to call up certain alter egos. So the third tip, once they've identified the stages, identified the traits, have a trinket or a something that they're carrying, that they're wearing, that to remind them of who they are, just like this.
Nice.
So when I'm speaking to children about something tech related, I'm wearing these glasses. Because they do 2 things. One, they remind me, okay, this is the tech, nerdy, engaging, fun aspect of Mo that's showing up right now.
Yeah.
But it also keep my audience's attention, right? Because they're red and they're Hello Kitty. So give yourself a trinket or a something to remind you, just like Superman would go into the phone booth. Give yourself a phone booth moment, right? Clark Kent would go into the phone booth and change his clothes, and when he came out, he was no longer Clark Kent, he was Superman.
Yes.
Dr. Martin Luther King wore glasses when he was writing his speeches, just to give himself that appearance or that feeling of being more distinguished, because he was very young when he was doing all the great work that he was doing in the civil rights movement. He was young, and he understood that not everybody would be able to receive him because of his youthful appearance. So he would put on glasses. He didn't have any vision problems, but he would put on the glasses because he knew that that would help give him that extra boost to deliver those speeches, to connect with those elders and allow them to receive him better. So that third piece is find a trinket. It could be a bracelet. It could be a jacket. I love to wear like blazers when I'm speaking too. I'll put on like a tank top and a blazer. So I can really, like, I feel like I'm wearing a cape. I feel like I'm a superhero at the moment, right? So give yourself something to identify the alter ego. So so they know it's a clear shift.
Yes.
The moment you put the glasses on, the moment you put the special beret in your hair, the moment you athletes put on the lucky socks, they do all these different things to make that switch between the person that walked onto the stage and the actor that is going to perform.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yes, please, everyone that's viewing this today, look into your alter ego and start to take note of the frustrations, the characteristics, and then the trinket that you're going to be able to use to be able to get into that alter ego that's already a part of you.
Yes.
Love it. Thank you so much, Mo. Thank you. Okay, so I think we covered majority of this question already, but I'm still going to ask just in case there's more tips that you wanted to give for it. But what are the steps that we can take to start building our confidence?
I'm going to use my favorite word. You called us out, and I use this word because I'm a soldier at heart. I'm still a soldier. So I believe in the importance of training. So I would say find and take advantage of every opportunity to retrain ourselves.
Yeah.
Because if we're open, life is teaching us stuff all the time.
It surely is.
I've heard Oprah joke where she said, life, please don't teach me nothing today. Because we know sometimes those lessons come wrapped in struggles and challenges and things like that. And we look back on them and laugh, but in the moment, they don't always feel good. But life is always teaching us about us. Not everybody wants to be taught about us. Not everybody wants to be reminded of the areas that need improvement.
Right.
So I would say, as a practice, find those opportunities, see them and seize them, and take different actions. If you want different results, you have to take different actions. So for somebody right now that might be watching and saying, well, I'm really struggling in my confidence journey. I this is happening in my life, that is happening. I feel like things are falling apart. I would first say it starts with you. It starts, internally, and recognizing, okay, regardless of what's happening and where I am right now, the power to change it is in me. There is nothing in my life that I can't impact, that I can't affect with my thoughts first and then with my actions. That's the difference. That's the difference between the fixed and the growth mindset. Fixed means, okay, whatever's happening, I'm just stuck here. Growth means, you know what, this doesn't feel good. I'm going to figure out how to change it.
Exactly.
So recognizing that they have the power to change it. And then, just like you and I are having this conversation, find a tribe, a squad, somebody, at least one person that can help talk you through what needs to happen next, or give you another perspective, because it's really hard to be inside the forest and to see the forest at the same time.
Right.
So it definitely helps to have somebody to provide that other perspective on a situation and help you figure your way out of it.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. So a question I ask everyone that comes on, what was one of the most important things that you have learned on your journey?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell it in a story.
Okay.
So I had been in the Army at this time. I was probably 21, 22 years old. And I was always smaller than most of the people, you know, like in my units. And I was stationed at an Air Force base, and we had been assigned on this particular day for our PT, for our physical training, to go through an obstacle course. And when I say this, this is just like the obstacle course that you see people go through in the movies. You got to run across the log, you got to climb the wall, you got to crawl under barbed wire, you have to do all of these things, right? And at this time, because, you know, still very young, new in the military, as any woman in the early 20s is probably kind of dealt with, I was struggling and really trying to figure out who I was, not only as a woman, but as a soldier and a possible leader of my peers. So there was a whole lot of figuring things out going on in me at this part of my journey. And we got to this obstacle course, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to suck. I am not going to be able to do this. I can't even do pull-ups. I mean, I could do push-ups, but I can't do pull-ups. And you have to have upper arm strength, and you have to know how to do this. And I was psyching myself out the whole time as we're marching over there to the thing. So they split us in the lines and kind of make us race each other. Because, you know, military people are horrible. So, but they got us, you know, the women are racing women, men are racing men. And everybody just kind of running through. And I ended up not having a partner to race. Okay. Because we had like an odd number of women in the unit. So I have to run it by myself. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, okay, there's going to be nobody else on the other side that people could be paying attention to. Everybody's going to be looking at me. And I'm like, all right, I have to do it. So I go through it, and I get through like the first few obstacles pretty easily. And I was like, did this really happen? So much so that when I got to there's a wall that you kind of have to run and figure out how to grab hold to, pull yourself up and climb over. I had shocked myself so much from the previous obstacles that I ran smack dab into the wall. No momentum, just ran and fell down. And I remember the drill sergeant that was kind of monitoring. He was like, oh, I think you left a little bit of your face on that wall over there. So I said, you know what? I'm feeling good about myself. I'm going to try this again. So I ran back to the last obstacle, ran again, got my start, my momentum, got latched on to a spot on the wall, pulled myself over, got over, and got to the last obstacle, which is the rope. And the rope is like 40 feet high. You have to climb the rope, ring the bell, and come down. Yes. So I get to the rope, and I was trying to remember, okay, they told us we could do this because the trick to the rope isn't upper arm strength, it's leg strength. Yes. You have to be able to hold yourself up with your legs so that your arms get an opportunity to rest. So I ended up getting about 3/4 of the way up the rope, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I got down from the rope and realized that I had gotten further in the obstacle course than all of the other women in my unit. I had been last, I had been freaking out, but because I just did it. And once I got into it, I was like, I will refuse to let this obstacle course beat me, and I will not have these men out here telling me I do an obstacle course like a girl. So I refused to do it. But I walked away. I mean, I had blood and dirt under my fingernails. I was scratched up. I had scratches on my face. I was dirty, but you couldn't tell me nothing. I walked away from that thing like, I got this. And I got this, and everything else that Army tries to throw at me, I got it. You know, that was a pivotal moment for me as a soldier, because I know that I went into the military, and I went into the military insecure, again, you know, trying to figure life out, not knowing who I am. And then you go into this organization that's really designed to strip you of your identity and make you blend in and make you look like everybody else. So trying to figure out your identity within an environment that's designed for you to not have an identity is difficult. But I walked away from that experience telling myself, you know what? Whatever gets thrown in front of me, I might run face first into it the first time, but that's all good. I'm going to start over.
Exactly.
Second time. That has been I carry that with me. This was 20 some years ago. And I still carry that experience with me because I know that if I did it then, whatever happens now from this day on, I'll be able to do it again.
Amen, amen. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. How can the good people find you, Mo?
So you all can find me at The Confetti Collective. We are all over social media. Our website is theconfetticollective.com. Facebook, The Confetti Collective. Instagram, The Confetti Collective. Pinterest, The Confetti. We are everywhere as The Confetti Collective. So I would love to have you come see what we're doing, connect with us online, and let's evolve together.
Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for that. So please follow and stay connected with Mo. And then just in closing, I thank you so much for joining us for Brand New Me Journey series. And this episode is called Made to Soar. I am your host, Shante Thompson, which is a licensed mental health counselor, Florida Supreme Court certified family mediator, and your breakup restoration expert. Please stay connected on Facebook, Brand New Me Journey, Instagram, BNM Brand New Me Journey, or Shante Thompson, and in our Facebook community, which is Brand New Me Phenomenal You. If you're interested in laser coaching or groups or support groups, you can get all of that with my assistance. So please, you can DM me, you can email me, info@shantethompson.com, and let's stay connected and continue the Brand New Me journey together. Thanks again for being here with us, Mo, and we'll definitely stay connected.
Yes, thank you for having me.